October 2025. Above the Baltic Sea, the night is cold, silent and motionless. Below that darkness sits Emari Air Base in Estonia, a strategic NATO outpost positioned on the western edge of an increasingly unstable world, and for now, home to the US Air Force's F-35A Lightning II fighters. These aircraft stand as sentinels on the frontier of the free world, a powerful symbol of NATO's commitment, built from steel, precision, and cutting-edge technology. But in the darkness, something is moving closer. 6 small drones, variants of the Iranian-designed Shahed 136, skim low over the Baltic pine forest, flying fast and close to the ground to avoid detection. They transmit no identification signal, no warning, no announcement, only a fast-approaching threat. 30 seconds remain before they reach their target. 30 seconds before billions of dollars in military assets could be reduced to wreckage. And yet, America's integrated defense system never sleeps. It is midnight at Emari Air Base. Silence covers the airfield. 12 F-35A Lightning IIs from the 48th Fighter Squadron at RAF Lakenheath rest under amber security lights. Their stealth coating absorbs the glow, making the aircraft look less like machines and more like shadows inside reinforced shelters. There is no siren yet, no visible alarm, only the constant readiness of the 495th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron, standing watch on quick reaction alert. The Baltic wind moves through the pine trees. Aside from the distant hum of generators, the base remains still. Emari, NATO's Baltic Sentinel in 2025. But this is not the silence of complacency. It is the silence of control. Deep underground inside the Tactical Operations Center, another world is fully awake. Cold blue LED light washes across display panels and the focused faces of operations officers. The AN/FPS-117 long-range radar scans a 240 nautical mile section of sky without pause. Terabytes of data stream every hour through SIPRNet, feeding directly into the systems linked to the F-35 force on the ground. Even at rest, pilots can absorb the full battlefield picture within seconds. This is the heartbeat of the defense network, one pulse every second, a constant signal of awareness and control. And this picture does not exist at Emari alone. Through Link 16, the data is fused in real time with an E3 Sentry AWACS patrolling overhead, with latency below 100 milliseconds. Everything is connected. Everything is prepared. Then a crack appears. A tiny anomaly flashes across a multi-function display. 6 red dots emerge at once. No IFF signal. Low observable drones, each carrying a 20-kilogram payload. Altitude, 500 feet above ground level. The AN/TPQ-53 counterfire radar, originally designed to detect rockets and artillery, identifies the anomaly immediately. Its AI-assisted tracking system, trained on thousands of scenarios, flags the pattern in just half a second. Operations officers zoom in on the tracks. Speed, 120 knots. Heading directly toward the center of the base. The threat is confirmed. A coordinated drone swarm. Reconnaissance indicates Russian Orlan-10 surveillance drones are supporting the approach of the Shahed variants. The response chain is activated. No hesitation, no delay. Targeting data is relayed to ground defense systems in only 2 seconds. And here's the remarkable part. How was the AN/TPQ-53 able to detect something this small? Its gallium nitride radar arrays can identify radar cross-sections as small as 0.01 square meters, about the signature of a metal bird diving through the dark. The steady radar tone suddenly accelerates into a sharp alert. The base is awake. The first layer of the defensive response is now in motion. At the outer perimeter, 4 M1151A1 Humvees from the U.S. Army's 31st Air Defense Artillery Brigade are already positioned around Emari. They shift into action. Their automated turrets rotate 180 degrees in just 3 seconds. Smooth, fast, and precise. The Stinger launch canisters on their LUWV-106 systems open with a hydraulic hiss. The network is ready. These are not isolated vehicles. They are nodes inside a larger integrated defense system. Using data passed directly from the AN/APG-81 radar of an F-35A on patrol, the Army's enhanced forward area air defense systems identify the incoming swarm. Through Link 16, information is fused across more than 200 miles. the Air Force becomes the Army's eyes. Inside the FIM-92E Stinger is a compact piece of engineering built for exactly this kind of moment. Its 2025 upgrade includes a dual infrared and ultraviolet seeker, allowing it to ignore up to 95% of decoys. And in the freezing Baltic air, its cooling system brings the seeker down to minus 196 degrees Celsius in just 2 seconds, ensuring a clean target lock. The servo motors rise in pitch. Target lock tones grow faster. Latency across Link 16 remains under 100 milliseconds. The Stinger's effective range, 4.8 kilometers. Then the sky breaks open. 2 bright streaks ignite upward at Mach 2.2. The missiles climb hard, their thrust vector control nozzles glowing orange as they make aggressive turns that seem almost impossible. They arc through the dark in clean, calculated curves, receiving constant mid-course updates from the E-3 Sentry overhead. On the infrared display, 2 Shahed 136 variants, carrying 20-kilogram payloads and supported by Russian Orlan-10 guidance, are now only 2 miles from the base. Their navigation systems, hardened against GPS disruption, are no longer enough. A flash tears through the darkness. 10 meters from the target, the Stinger's proximity fuse activates, dispersing a fragmentation pattern optimized for maximum effect. Metal fragments spin away into the night. 2 red icons vanish from the screen. Remote confirmation follows immediately. Targets neutralized. A single Stinger missile costs around $450,000. Against drones valued near $50,000, it is an expensive response, but one that protects infrastructure and aircraft worth billions. Inside the Humvee's firing position, it all happens in a span of 30 seconds. Baltic crosswinds at 15 knots are calculated and corrected in real time by the fire control software. This is the intersection of human judgment and machine precision. But the challenge remains. 4 drones are still inbound, so the tactical question becomes critical. Do you send F-35s into the air, or do you hold them back and trust the ground-based defenses? Silence returns. But now it feels different. Not calm, but ominous. Because the attackers are adapting. On the terrain display inside the TOC, the 4 remaining red tracks suddenly split apart. They drop below 300 feet, using the Baltic terrain and dense pine cover to mask their approach. Their speed rises to 150 knots. They are adjusting in real time. Flying low and close to the landscape, they begin emitting electronic countermeasures designed to interfere with identification and targeting systems. This is hybrid warfare in practice. By 2025, Russian Orlan-10 drones are relaying information and attempting to confuse the F-35's distributed aperture system. Testing NATO's eastern flank as drone activity in Baltic airspace has risen by 82%, according to the Defense Department's third-quarter report. But the American system is adapting too. The Cooperative Engagement Capability, CEC, merges optical and electronic data from the F-35 with ground radar networks, transforming terrain blind spots into engagement zones. Inside the TOC, the only sound is the muted thud of heartbeats and the quiet movement of hands across consoles. Drone profile, Shade 136. Radar cross-section, 0.01 square meters. Threat level, high, based on NATO Eastern Flank alerts. Fingers move across control panels as the AI projects the final timeline. 25 seconds to runway impact. Primary target set. F-35A, shelters and flight line infrastructure. There is no panic, only precision. The loop closes. The data confirms what the defenders need next. Multiple targets remain, and every second now matters. Otherwise, all 12 MRI Lightning IIs would be at risk. For the drone operators in Kaliningrad, the window is closing fast. The integration of the American defense network leaves almost no room for error and no clear path through. The screen shifts. Dark silhouettes of the failing systems begin to move into position. Now comes the real question. Against a fast-moving drone swarm, or even a single breakthrough target, how should the defensive layers be arranged? A lone radar ping stretches into a long metallic echo. The storm is about to break, and then the steel wall reveals itself. 4 land-based Phalanx weapon systems, LPWS Block 1B variants, had been deployed by the U.S. Army's 31st Air Defense Artillery Brigade following a $279 million sustainment contract awarded to Raytheon in July 2025. Their radar domes spin to life at extreme speed. The 20mm M61A1 Vulcan cannons rise from standby position. This is the steel wall, the LPWS, the land-based phalanx weapon system. 4 Guardians positioned around the 8,000-foot runway. Their Ku-band radars can lock onto targets from 1.2 kilometers away, even through Baltic fog and 90% humidity, thanks to advanced gallium nitride arrays. The 2025 upgrade introduced a major leap in capability. AI-assisted clustering algorithms allow each system to track and process swarms of up to 20 targets at once. With traverse speeds of 45 degrees per second, they move nearly 10 times faster than the anti-aircraft gun systems of World War II. The hum of electric motors rises steadily, turning into the heavy grind of metal in motion. LPWS combat profile, 20mm HEIT-SD ammunition. Effective engagement range, 1.5 miles. But these are not standalone weapons. They are part of a system of systems. Data from the AN/TPQ-53 counter-drone radar flows into a node of the Joint All-Domain Command and Control Network, JADC2, and from there, directly into the Phalanx Fire Control Architecture. At the same time, the F-35A's multifunction advanced data link provides live target vectors, with edge computing reducing delay to almost nothing. 1 radar ping, 4 gun systems respond, with a level of coordination so refined that even naval combat systems would respect it. From the perspective of an operator inside the TOC, it feels less like pushing buttons and more like conducting an orchestra, human judgment supervising machine speed decisions. On the green glow of the night vision display, the guns are tracking shapes that look almost like ghosts. 30 seconds to bring the threat down to 0. And here's the deeper lesson of modern drone warfare. Autonomy is not recklessness. Used correctly, it is an advantage. For defense tech followers, this opens another question for the future. LPWS, or Directed Energy Laser Systems by 2030. Which becomes the stronger answer? The target lock tones accelerate. Faster, sharper, more intense. Then the symphony begins. In slow motion, Cannon 1, north of the runway, opens up with its unmistakable roar. A 75-round burst at 4,500 rounds per minute cuts a bright red arc through the night. At 800 meters, the stream catches drone number 3 and tears it apart into fragments. The HEIT-SD fuse activates in mid-air, spreading a dense cloud of metal through the target path. First intercept confirmed. Its radar had already predicted a 50G evasive maneuver and compensated in real time, matching it with muzzle velocity above 3,000 feet per second. A single 1.5 kilogram tungsten round had turned a 20 kilogram airborne threat into falling debris. The roar of the Gatling gun rolls across the base, followed by the metallic rattle of fragments hitting the ground like rain. Then, from the opposite side, a mirror image. Gun number 2 repeats the action with near-perfect timing. Its burst cuts across a 1-kilometer gap and catches drone number 4 mid-maneuver. This is layered coordination at its highest level, overlapping fields of fire without dangerous interference, managed through the IFF framework and synchronized fire control logic. And the engineering behind it is just as impressive. Each LPWS carries 1,550 rounds in its drum and can reload automatically in only 10 seconds. Relentless capacity, minimal downtime. Spent casings, heated to extreme temperatures, cascade downward like a meteor shower, while protective shielding helps keep nearby F-35 infrastructure safe from secondary effects. Then the final 2 drones make one last attempt. They climb to 1,000 feet, trying to attack from above. But the defense network has already anticipated the move. Cannons 3 and 4 elevate together, their barrels forming a deadly X against the night sky. A 500-meter-wide engagement zone. Then both fire at once. A total of 150 rounds climbs into the darkness. Seconds later, the drone's payloads detonate in a chain reaction high above the base. The 2025 AI prediction model had identified this vertical escape profile from intercepted Orlan 10 patent data with a 99.9% projected hit probability. For a brief moment, the sky glows like a national celebration. But this is not a celebration. It is a message. Flaming debris falls harmlessly away from the protected zone. Infrared footage from an MQ-9 Reaper on patrol confirms it. No damage on the ground. More than 18,000 rounds were fired. No gaps in coverage. No breakthrough. The kill chain is complete. The Amari F-35s remain untouched. And the lesson is unmistakable. American layered defenses turned a coordinated drone reconnaissance strike into a failed operation in just 90 seconds. The roar slowly fades, leaving only the ticking sound of cooling metal. Silence returns, heavier than before. Smoke rises from the gun barrels as they lower back towards standby. Thermal imaging tracks their temperature as it drops from 200 degrees Fahrenheit. High above, an MQ-9 Reaper continues circling at 15,000 feet, scanning debris fields for intelligence. No radio chatter, only confirmation. Airspace secure. Inside the TOSI, the screens return to calm green scan lines. Link 16 confirms the full defensive picture. All inbound targets were intercepted. The F-35 pilots remain on alert, engines warm, still ready to launch within 5 minutes if needed. After the engagement, every byte of mission data is uploaded into the regional command and control network for analysis, refinement, and adaptation. Because every attempted strike, even a failed one, becomes data. And data makes the system stronger. A final aerial shot reveals the base, once again, calm and still. Phalanx systems remain posted at the corners like silent guards. Amari stands firm. American defenders, human and machine, continue to secure the Baltic corridor and help protect the flow of commerce moving through one of the world's most important regions. Above, distant stars reflect faintly across the canopy of an F-35 cockpit. A final chord rises and fades. And that may be the biggest lesson from the drone battles of 2025. In modern warfare, the speed of information matters just as much as the speed of weapons. When American systems are fully integrated, from orbit to runway, from radar to trigger, the margin for enemy success becomes vanishingly small. Much like the USS Carney's intercepts in the Red Sea, this is another example of layered defense working under pressure, this time on NATO's eastern flank. Would you like us to break down the F-35's distributed aperture system in the next video? And one more question for the comments. How would you upgrade the Phalanx platform to deal with future hypersonic threats? Subscribe for more weekly kill chain breakdowns and leave a like if today's U.S. Air Force defense scenario impressed you.